May I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to this edition of the X-Fan Show Tuesday. The A-Train Arlington Lane at your service. Waiting on my partner in crime to arrive in just a moment. Thank you for tuning in to this edition. Hey, you know what? We're going to start going back to Tuesdays and Thursdays. You know what? Because there's so much information. There he is. There he is. He's pulling up now. So much information that we got to talk about, especially today. And I want to make sure that we do our regular thing Tuesdays and Thursdays. Of course, is he there, Dirty? Is that you? I think I see you, but I get a black screen when you're showing up. See, I knew it. I just knew it. But today is a great day, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only. Is he now? You popping back up again? Is this you now? What's up, Leonardo? Good seeing you once again, man. Shout out to the Smoking Guns podcast. You make sure you check them on every Monday night at 7 o'clock, I believe, right? Yeah. Sunday. Make sure you check them out. They talking everything, gunslingers and all that good stuff. Got a couple of special guests coming in today from Standing Guard. Michael Lathrop will be joining me. Also, from Gateway City Sports, Derek King will be here as well. We're going to talk a bit about the news that dropped the other day. I don't know. It's something wrong with his phone. I don't know. It just keeps dropping for some weird reason, Leo. Something is wrong with his phone. He's having a hard time and getting on board, but that's okay. But yeah, before we get into it real quick, just some little news and notes. Pat Sajak's retiring. I just want to throw that out there. But yeah, I found that out last night, and I was kind of weirded by that. But that's fun. Are you finally arriving, Dirty, or not? If not, I don't think you're going to be able to do the show today. And I think he's going to be bummed that he can't do it. We can't see you, man. Like nobody. John Cena up in this Joker, man. Like they really John Cena, and he's about to throw a whole fit that he can't be seen right now. Dude, where are you? No? All right, so we're gonna have to remove him. Dude, we don't know where you at. But let me go ahead and I'm gonna bring in my first guest from the Standing Guard podcast from Player 54 podcast. Joining me today is Mike Lathrop. Get him in here. Mike, good afternoon. Good day to you, sir. How you doing today?
Well, good afternoon to the people on the East Coast. I believe it's still morning in Central, Midwest, and the Pacific. So good morning to those folks.
I had to give me some water, man. So how is everything going, man, for you right now?
I'd say good, but we're dealing with some humidity. So it feels like it's over 100 degrees here, 101. But even though it's only 90, humidity. Florida problems, people. Just Florida problems. But
Florida problems. Houston is just as bad here when it comes to the weather. It's been 95 plus over the last few days. not just some days, but a lot. So been dealing with that. There's been some rain in the area and some high winds, 50, 55 miles an hour winds, man. They say, oh, it's hurricane season. It's hurricane season. I'm like, I'm not trying to look forward to hurricane season. Okay. I'm not trying to do that. Also, coming on the show with me is from Gateway City Sports, the one and only Mr. Derek King himself. Derek, good afternoon to you, sir. How you doing, man? Welcome back.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate you having me on, asking me if I come on and give my 2 cents. And trust me, there's plenty of that to go around. But I appreciate that. Yes, it is somewhat of a welcome back. I've been on a hiatus for a little while. I've been working on Gateway City Sports and back end of stuff and some other things.
Yeah.
As you know, I'm an avid farmer, and I've been out.
Yes.
Working my cattle and working my ranches and doing hay and all these other different types of things that I do of my normal everyday life. And it's been busy and hectic, but it's been good.
Yeah. Welcome back, man. Welcome back to the show. Before we get into the big topic of the day that I had put out on the X-Fan show, got to do some news and notes that came to me today. The rookie draft has come out. There's some information for the rookie draft. I know a lot of people's like, when is it? What's going down? It is virtual. It is, I have it here. June 16th is the rookie draft. So it's coming up this weekend. And so if you look at it from all 8 teams, who's going to be doing drafting first and who's going to be the last pick in the first round, because I think it's going to be like 10 rounds. We got Orlando first, Vegas second, San Antonio is third, St. Louis is fourth due to the fact they did not make the playoffs. Fifth will be the Houston Roughnecks. Sixth will be the Seattle Sea Dragons. Seventh will be the DC Defenders, and eighth is the champion Arlington Renegades. Man, they went by records for the first 6 or for the first 4, and then who got dropped out of the playoffs all the way up to the champion. So those are the picks. And then, of course, they're going to be doing a snake draft at that. So shut up, Leo. There hasn't been this much intelligence on this show in like forever. It's been, a couple weeks or so? So, hey, it's all right. Oh, well, guess what, Leo? I hate to break it to you. The man has arrived. There he is.
I can't hear anything.
Oh Lord, here you go.
No,
here you go.
I can't. It's all my fault. So
yeah, it is. It is
idiot.
all your fault.
What can I say? What
Yeah.
else is new?
I was just mentioning about the draft, sir.
What
Just
else is
mentioning
new
about
with
the draft.
me? Oh, hold on. No, that ain't doing it either.
So you know what we're gonna do with him?
Kick me out.
We're gonna just mute. It's just gonna mute him. Okay, that's cool. Thanks. See how he does? He just bring the show down all the time. But at the same time, we got the 8 teams. Draft is coming up. The showcases are coming up the same weekend. Atlanta kicks it off first, and I'm excited for those. I know not a lot has been said, but we do have a draft, and I hope everybody can check it out virtually on XFL.com this weekend, and we'll see who the hopefuls that are making a XFL roster. Also, there's on Twitter, and I wish I had somebody that could bring it to me, but Bobby Wagner of the Seahawks says when he retires, he wants to play in the XFL the following season. So that means like right after he's done, he wants to go straight to the XFL. Bobby Wagner. So, I mean, that's pretty cool to me. Gang, my smart gang that's here today. What are your thoughts on that, Mike?
Well, I mean, he's a quality player, and it doesn't matter if he's having difficulty latching on, staying in Seattle at first and whatnot. But anybody that has notoriety, kind of that cult following, is always a good thing to help bring eyes to the league. I mean, you can't help but wonder, though, how does it negatively impact the league? If it's somebody's it's their, their farewell tour, so to speak.
Yeah.
But, there's always going to be some negativity that comes around from people being like, the person's washed up, clearly can't hack it, blah, blah, blah. You're never going to please everybody. So I don't even try doing that anymore. But when it comes down to having people that are very good at what they've done, at least, or ambassadors of the game, if you will, I think that's a very good thing for the XFL to have, especially in its infancy, because I can't imagine he's going to be playing forever in the National Football League. So I have a feeling that sooner rather than later. I just don't think it's 2024.
Gotcha. What's your thoughts on it, Derek? Would you like to see a member of the Legion of Boom in the XFL?
I mean, personally, I love Bobby Wag, right? Great player. Amazing to watch with Seahawks. Really was one of the top-notch reasons as to why that defense was referred to as the Legion of Boom. But I throw one more out there. One that I would really love to see is Beast Mode, Marshawn Lynch. I would love to see Marshawn Lynch in an XFL situation. Have the madman himself, the beast himself out there just plowing through. Great running game. And as we know, the running game within the NFL over the last several years has started this massive decline. And we've seen passing games become more and more prevalent, especially passing out of the backfield. Maybe you've got tight ends lining up. You've got linemen lining up in the backfield. You've got them declaring as and we saw it in the XFL this year. Several games, because I was personally at every home game except for one in St. Louis.
Right.
And in those instances, every single game, at least a couple of times per game, they were having offensive linemen declaring as eligible. So whenever I think of the next iteration in NFL players coming over, I think of these big names, right? Marshawn Lynch, Richard Sherman, it would be a good one. T.O., somebody like that who maybe has a little bit left in the tank, could probably still go a little bit, but it's really going to be some major name recognition, and it's really going to draw over big-time eyes. That's where I think if you really want to advertise, you really want to get those big names in there, that's how you do it. That's how you get some recognition on your product.
I'm going to throw out Leo's comment. He says, but is the XFL where we want retired NFL players to play? That's not really in line with the 54 philosophy now, is it? Which is true. It's not. But at the same time, how that the league that Ice Cube has, the Big Three, where a lot of players that don't play in the NBA anymore just still want to go out and play basketball and still want to play. That's, in a way, you could say that of sorts. I'm not saying that they're going to sit there and play in the XFL for 2-3 years or so. It's just for a year. It will bring more eyeballs to the table. It will bring more people to the seats because they can see former favorite players, and even to see if they still got it. The same way that they would treated The Rock, when he first came back into wrestling, they kept chatting, "You still got it," that type of thing. I'm not saying it might take away. I'm not saying a lot of players are going to do this. I'm thinking one thing is like, okay, we might have one player here, maybe another player next season or whatnot. I'm not expecting 10, 15, 20 players that retire will jump on board with the XFL just to say, hey, we want to play and we're going to take somebody's roster spot because of that. But I will say to that effect, it would be actually pretty cool to have it. I know it was, Leo said it would defeat the 54 purpose, but who knows? I mean, it's all about bringing more to the table at this rate in the game. And now, and we got another comment, big difference between NBA, a Big Three, a Drew League, than putting your body and life on the line on the gridiron. Even if it's for a year. You know what I mean? I get that. Well, let's talk about the subject at hand. Just the other day, we found out that $60 million was quote unquote lost. Dirty, has he returned? Oh, finally, there he is. And you look better, man. You look better.
I mean, listen, I don't know. In a new studio, things are messing up. So I had to go old school and go to the phone.
But hey, you came in right just in time, man.
What I come in time for?
The $60 million that has been lost or has been spent. I think it's been spent. I think it's been spent. I know a lot
Oh
of
wait,
people.
are we talking about the $60 million
Yeah,
bullshit?
we gotta talk about the $60 million,
All
man.
right, hold on. Look, let me break it down for you, right? It's a startup league, right? Costs $30 million to buy the damn thing, first of all. So they're already $30 million in the hole, right?
Right.
Then you had to pay for the coaches. Then you had to buy equipment, only one-time purchases, right? So look, did they really lose 60 million or did they only lose maybe 30 million? I would say this. They didn't lose any money. They actually made money this year. So all you people need to quit freaking out that the XFL lost money because they didn't really lose any money. Get over it. Quit crying about it. I mean, listen, Danny and The Rock started with $7. And what did Danny do? She built The Rock up to a mega star. So do you really think we should even be worrying about this crap? No, we shouldn't be. That's all I got to say about that BS.
All right, Mike, what you got on that?
Just to break down that 30 million that Dirty's talking about, 15 million to purchase it out of bankruptcy. Okay. Another 8.5 million is what they were on the books by purchasing it from bankruptcy of the debt that was left by Vince McMahon and company. Okay. That wasn't dissolved through bankruptcy. So $28.5 million they already knew was a cost that had nothing to do with other than acquiring intellectual property. So that's something, and I know I don't try to do apples to apples all the time. The USFL really didn't have to do that. They waited for trademarks to essentially expire, you know, kind of whether you like it as a business move or not. And Dirty, you know, to steal Dirty's nickname, kind of in a dirty way, took advantage of hard work that other people put in years of building up a brand that just laid stagnant for years. But let's think about this. If the USFL was 100% in the clear, why did they settle with the original people that were affiliated with the USFL in that lawsuit? We
Right.
don't know how much money they spent, but guess what? Their year one of $7.5 million profit is not going to be as profitable if people really want to break down their numbers, because now they had to settle. We don't know how much, but guess what? The people withdrew their lawsuit because they got something in return that they wanted. There was a monetary value tied to that. 2, the city of Birmingham and the county subsidized the USFL year one so they could play out of one hub. The XFL didn't have it. They had a hub out of Arlington, and they made sure that each of their 8 teams have established venues and staffs, front office staffs. Now, we can argue about who they let go. Okay, that's fine, because there's some question marks about Vegas right now, whether Vegas returns for 2024 or not. But they have already established things that the USFL has not. Okay, so when we're looking at it, is it 60 million like Dirty's saying? Okay, maybe it does. Maybe it does add up to be $60 million lost. But comparing that to Vince McMahon's approximately $200 million lost for half a season, it seems like the 3.0 iteration is on top of it with establishing everything they needed to have. They figured something out. Year 2, they're set up for a better opportunity for significant growth, in my opinion. I'll just leave it there.
Exactly. Derek, what's your thoughts on that?
Wait, hold on. Is that Derek King?
It is Derek King,
Look
sir.
at that! Look at that stellar beard he's got going.
Shut up and let Derek talk.
I wish I could do that.
Shut up. Go ahead, Derek.
Listen, I need to touch on something first. The dirty one. Okay, you're looking a little extra dirty today. Okay, first things first. Secondly, I'd prefer to be looking at Arlington. He's a little prettier. Just letting you know.
Oh, hey.
Just letting you know. Heads up. But you're going to hear this very rarely from me. I somewhat agree with what Dirty's saying. Now,
What?
I'll even follow it up with what Mike had said.
Okay.
Because it's a great transition to now this third point. Any business plan, and I've owned and operated several businesses, you have a 3-year plan. Year 1 is big losses. You're going to see it. You have startup, you have employment, insurances, trademarks, registrations, fees, all that initial startup cost. It's going to kill you year 1. It's going to be huge, and it's going to look like you are absolutely losing your rear end. That's the way it works in every single business. Year 2, hopefully you get to the point where you have bridged that gap, or maybe have a little less significant of a loss year 2. Year 3 is really where you break even, start making money. That's the way the federal government views it. Anybody that really understands the tax code and how these businesses work in the tax world and everything else, the federal government doesn't like seeing year 3 that you're still losing money as a business, because then they're questioning, is this actually a viable business, or is this something else we need to be taking a closer look at? As far as the XFL is concerned, Mike hit it right on the nose with the USFL and the, no pun intended, I'm not trying to infringe on a gimmick here, but the dirty dealings that they did with naming rights, the backroom deals, the settlements, all the other stuff that we don't know, that we were not privy to, that we do not have the information on. Those are factors that we can't attribute for. So what I will close out on that is saying this. Year 2, they're going to trim the fat. Okay, they're going to come in, they're going to trim the fat, they're going to cut the dead weight, they're going to look at their payroll, they're going to go through, they're going to make those adjustments. You're going to see some changes, in some instances, big changes that will be made within the XFL, because that's the way that these businesses work when you have a startup like this. It has to. It's that simple.
All right, so here's what I want to do. I want to go right here to this comment from the good doctor. They're $60 million in the hole. They are cutting jobs. Not a good look, guys. Hold on. Okay, the jobs they cut are all the seasonal jobs. Now, a few major heads in the personnel got let go because maybe they weren't doing their jobs good enough. I'm not going to mention any names. Janet weren't doing their jobs good enough, so maybe that's why they got let go. So again, when you get rid of all your seasonal workers, now they have no players on the payroll right now. Okay, so those are all jobs that they got cut. The seasonal workers, ticket agents that were seasonal ticket agents, all got cut. The players all got cut. Those they're not really cutting jobs. Those are just seasonal people. They didn't sign long-term 5-year deals like they do in other major sports, right? So again, it goes back to how much did they really lose? It was like Michael said and Derek both said, it cost them $15 million to buy the league. Exactly. You could say it's excuses all you want, but there are a lot of things that we know, Arlington, that me and you both know that we're not even privy to say the things that we do know. So the real question is, and again, I will bring it up. If you look and you dig deep enough, you will find the truth. They didn't lose $60 million. That $60 million that they lost was, like Michael said, from the bankruptcy, paying off the excess debt, buying all the other stuff that was brought up. I mean, technically, they had $250 million from Disney for the 5-year contract that they signed with Disney. So you break that down, Arlington, what do we break it down to? $20 million a year? So right there, that's okay. So now you go from 60 down to 40 million, right? And then you have all of the revenue and all of the ads that they had. We're not going to ever see any of that. We're not going to see what their sponsorship deals were. Great job to Erica and Wendy for doing the sponsorships with Zoa and all of that stuff. You know,
it's this part. And you know what? My guy at Forbes that wrote the piece and even did the video with The Rock in San Antonio just gave like cringe reporting that he sat there and said on the piece, does anybody want to tell The Rock that he's wrong, that this ain't gonna work? So here's the thing, y'all already saying in your little bullet head minds that you don't even want this to work.
I'm gonna stop you right there. Fake news.
Go ahead.
Fake news. That I read that article and I could not help but laugh because it was the biggest joke article that I've seen by a hack reporter. I'm just going to call it the way it is. A hack reporter that does not know how to do their job, that clearly does not know how to do investigative journalism, that clearly doesn't know the 3-source rule, that is literally doing an opinion-based piece off of some idea that they have in their head about some subjective matter. They didn't do any real research. They just looked at subjective research, subjective numbers. And again, I will state this to a point. This is a private company. Private, all caps. This is not a publicly traded company. They do not have a board. They do not have any kind of a group that they have to answer to. They do not have shareholders that they have to answer to. They do not have any public information. There is a lot of stuff, like Dirty said and Mike said, that is out there that we don't know, that we will never know. So as far as this guy from Forbes saying what he's saying in the article about losing money and it's going to fail and all this other stuff, that's a bunk excuse. That's a terrible article. And I'm just going to leave it at that.
Here, I'll say it like this. Hold on, before I let Mike go. Look, it's like other hack networks that are out there that say that they're growing a network and they just like to hack their way through it and all of that stuff. You know, I mean, it's like our title of our show says, snake bitten. Again, it's here, you know, as much as I can't stand the queen hyena, look what she says. If it's all excuses, then why are people still showing up? Because the XFL will succeed. You know how I feel about the hyena. She's just an annoying little brat that's a bird in our ear, Arlington. And, you know, she just annoys the hell out of us. You know what I mean? So anyways, I mean, look, it's like this. The league succeeded. We got a year out of the league, right? And again, I'm going to give you another little speculation. Don't be surprised if there's a 4-letter entity that out there that isn't playing somewhere else, somewhere next year on a different network next year. All right, Michael, go on. What do you have to say?
Are you speculating, sir? Are you speculating?
I'm done speculating.
Speculating? Oh, okay.
I'm done speculating.
Go ahead, Mike, please.
Any written piece has good and bad out of it, right? I even shared the article and I got some flack, right, from my followers on social media for sharing a bad article, what casted the XFL in bad light. But there's some interesting information in there, right? If you still hit on some certain things, and it is important to get the 60 million, whether we like it or not, whether we want to try to dissect it however we want to, it's a good number to have, right? You have to have an understanding of what year one brought. And to me, if we're going to hang our head on the 60 million, I think you're leaps and bounds ahead of where 2.0 was. Everyone looked back at 2.0 as this amazing launch. Didn't do anything wrong. The pandemic took it down. Whatever talking points you want to use. If that cost or loss Vince McMahon approximately $200 million, and this iteration that has been deemed a twice failed league, right? Or at all this negative light now before they got to even kick off their training camp. You know, everyone's like, oh, it's a twice failed league. It ain't going to work, blah, blah, blah. If they could take on debt before they even got to assemble a team, approximately $30 million, and only lost $30 million more by the end of the completion of their first year, what are we talking about? Seriously, what are we talking about? That's approximately $170 million less than this amazing thing that was going to be set up for success. Maybe it did set this up for success. You know, I don't care if it's hack journalism, whatever. We got a piece of information. It tells me 60 million. These guys did something right if they only spent another $30 million on top of what they had to acquire the league. They did something right in heading into year two. Derek is right when you talk about the 3-year plan. Anyone that's been tied into business understand that. But if you've already taken care of the biggest lumps and you got your leases taken care of and stuff, and this is where I know people don't want to keep doing the comparison, but let's keep it real with anybody that's also coming in. Everyone has a bias here. Everyone has a bias. If you are fully in the XFL camp, the USFL camp, maybe the NFL camp, you don't care for either league and they're not going to work. But when you look at this, if the USFL only made a $7.5 million profit in year one and they haven't set up everything else and don't have all these team staffs, who's really failing? Because now the XFL has done it and they've already realized that if they're going to make a change in Vegas and whatever, they let go of a larger staff, whatever. Okay, whatever. They're realizing their mistakes. So maybe next year will be much closer to that break even that Derek was talking about. I see this as a good piece for the information that we got. That forget about the opinions and the questions that Mr. Young was asking. I only care about the true bits that are backed by other sources and whatnot that are coming out. To me, that's what matters. So this is a good article because it did, peel back the curtain a little bit, and it allows us to have this conversation. And we know season 2 is coming. So obviously, what are we worried about?
So here, I'll get me and Arlington. I guess we can talk about this now, Arlington, because the season's done. Look, Dirty's got to eat some crow because if you remember last week on the show, I said nobody's leaving, right? I said no head coach is leaving.
Oh yes,
And
sir.
then, what? I'm admitting it. Relax. Chill out over there. Chill out. Don't get your boxers in a ruffle. Just chill out over there.
I never do that, but please.
Dirty, I made a mistake. The first time ever on this show I have ever made a mistake. And I said that a coach wasn't leaving. Rod Woodson left. But here's something that people don't realize, Arlington, that me and you realized, Arlington, because we even talked about it way back in the day on the show. Rod Woodson didn't even want to be a coach in this league. Didn't even want to be a coach. Rod Woodson was on his way out the door. And it somehow got talked into staying. Talked into how to staying somehow. So now, really, is it a bad deal, Michael? Like you said, in Vegas, look, we do know this. We talked about it on the show. They signed a 5-year deal in Vegas, $50,000 for Cashman Field for 5 years. Whether you like it or not, they're playing in Cashman Field for 5 years. So get over it. So quit being pissed off. Go to a Cashman game because Aaron does a great job out there. But let's really look at this. Is the XFL in trouble with Rod Woodson going? Because they have 4 offensive coordinators right now that could step in and be a head coach. And my leading candidate is a quo coordinator in a certain city that went 6-6 and just won the championship. Can anybody guess who that would be?
I hate that you picking my guy too. I really hate that you picking
my mind's in a little bit of a haze. You know what I'm saying?
So if you look at it, no, we're just gonna go ahead and say it. John
is it a purple?
No, I like Michael's way. I like his. He said his mind's in a haze. I like that version better.
Go ahead, Derek. What you say?
I was just saying, is it a purple haze or is it just?
We'll leave that to be determined by the viewers.
Fair enough.
Hey,
Look, so I mean, listen.
I don't know. I'm gonna spill the beans. It's John Hayes. John Hayes is my pick. That's my pick to be the Vegas head coach. I think they keep everything internal. If they wanted to take everything out, I heard a rumor that was Pep Hamilton could be coming back. I'm like, I don't see it. I see somebody keeping it. It's internal. John Hayes just fits the bill, in my opinion.
Well, now look, I'm going to say right now, if you really think about it, look, you got Hayes, who's a quote coordinator in Arlington, right? So he's a candidate. Then you have AJ Smith down there in Houston, who did a really good job, right? Then you also have a guy who was a head coach for 2020 in June Jones up there in Seattle, who did a really good job. And then let's not forget the other coach who possibly had the best defense in the XFL until the championship game, Greg Williams. So you got 4 guys who can literally step in. So why would you bring – the thing is with the XFL, we've seen it's about opportunities, right? So why would you bring somebody in from the outside when you already have the people in place?
But what about somebody from the outside that had been in it before?
Well, I mean, okay, good. It could be Pep, but Pep took his ball because he got mad at Winston Moss and left and went home because he got yelled at me because I didn't play very well. And he took his ball and went home. So I don't want Pep Hamilton back in. Pep Hamilton can go fly a kite. John Gruden. John Gruden ain't going anywhere. Shut up. Shut up, Phil.
No, I wouldn't go after either one. Dave Cully.
No.
They want to remain as coordinators and potential NFL head
All right, now
coaches.
here, let's ask our esteemed guest here, Derek King from the founder of Gateway City Sports and Michael Lathrop from Player 54 podcast. Guys, you have the 4 guys in place, right? You said that, they said they lost $60 million. Are they really wanting to lose more money? Or are they just going to take a guy from a different team and plug him into that head coaching spot? Who wants to go first?
I'll let Mike go ahead and go first.
Okay.
So you mentioned 4. I say there's only 3, and I agree 100% that it's in-house. Hayes, Jones, and Williams. You need somebody that has had head coaching experience because what did we just see this past season? Aside from Coach Beck, the rookie head coaches did not have a good year. And you need somebody to be able to develop these players and achieve their dreams. You don't need more dysfunction. And what we have seen out of Coach Woodson, I had to, it sounds a little bad because I had the opportunity to interview him at a showcase, but he seemed like a very personal person. But however, for whatever reason, it didn't look so nice on the sideline. The way he was talking to referees, even his coaches, didn't seem like things were coordinated away when he was deciding to go for it on fourth down, and all of a sudden it looked like chaos. It looked like dysfunction at its utmost viewpoint, right? So when I looked at Coach Buckley, a lot of the similar things, but Coach Buckley learned from mistakes. His teams remained competitive even towards the end. That Dormady situation could have make or break anybody, but they came out actually looking better afterwards as a team, keeping things together. But I think for the most part, you can't roll the dice on another rookie head coach. You can't do it right now. You have a brand that's struggling for marketing, right? Some of these teams maybe might not get in the attendance they need. You need people that have some name recognition. If it's a June Jones, he did very well in the 5 games with the Houston Roughnecks in 2020. Why wouldn't you want to replicate that again? And you have a guy like Greg Williams that has an outstanding defense. Yes, you don't want to break up what makes these teams front, offense, defense, special teams as a full solid team. But at some point, why don't you want to replicate things that are successful? And I mean, heck, Hayes, they might have started off rough, but he stayed, on his game plan, tweaked very minimal things, and then ultimately won a championship. You want somebody that's seasoned, that's been in the grind, knows what they got to do to not give up on the season, even if you're 4-6 going to playoffs and then ultimately win the championship. That's what the league needs, not more rookie head coaches.
Derek.
Well, I will agree with that assessment, but I'll put a few little caveats to it. I would say, again, from this startup mentality, where you're at coming in year 2, I 100% agree with Mike. You don't want to take the risk on a rookie coach. That being said, you might be priced out of that market of an experienced coach or potentially head coach of some kind that maybe already might be involved with another 4-letter league or another 3-letter league. In those instances, I would look at it and go, okay, I'm going to try internal first. I think Coach Hayes is a great pick. I think he's probably your top guy. I think Greg Williams is probably somebody like a number 2 or potentially a number 3. You want to keep it internal. You want to keep it close-knit. You want to make a fast transition. They've already been in the system for a year or more. They already understand it. They get it, the fundamentals, the simplest part of the structure in the system. That makes the most sense. Now, that being said, if either of those guys or maybe a third person that comes in and says, hey, maybe that's not something I want to do. Maybe they get an offer to go back into the NFL. If Coach Hayes gets an opportunity to be an offensive coordinator for an NFL team, do you think that he'll turn that down? That would probably not be a smart move on his end as far as extending his professional career. The same thing goes for Greg Williams. We know he's been essentially ostracized from the NFL, from Bounty Gate, from all the other things that's went on over the years that's been synonymous with his defenses. So this might be a way for those individuals to build up more credentials, to be able to get their reputations back, and to be able to still stay in a system that they fundamentally understand, and for the XFL to just continue to keep moving forward as quickly as they can. That being said, again, it's going to be on a lot of what ifs and maybes and things and answers that we don't know. I'm sure there's somebody over there in the top right-hand corner that might have a dirty speculation on the subject matter, but I'm just going to leave it at that.
I always have a speculation.
But that's where I would say the smart play, keep it internal. Mike's 100% correct. Stay with the guys you know and the systems that you know that have gotten you success to this point.
Now, look, I'm glad you hit that. I'm glad you hit that, Arlington.
I can't. None of them.
I don't see bringing any of them back. I don't. I
not
think
even as coordinators, because again, it goes back to what was said if you keep it everything internally, that all projects to what the whole expense account was all talked about previously in this program. Is that if you bring in more people in, you have to spend for them. You have to spend to get Gilbride, Trestman, or Winston Moss back. So no. So and then guess what that also means? Leave Steve Spurrier alone. Leave his ass alone.
Spurrier.
Leave him
We need to
alone.
bring him Spurrier.
He's done with coaching.
Look, you know who I think, listen, here's the only hire they should make, the XFL should make for this 2024 season. I think they should hire a guy who is really good at something, right?
That's very vague, but go ahead.
Yeah, they should hire a guy who could be a great play-by-play announcer. And I have the perfect guy, Arlington. Would you like me to introduce him to you, Arlington?
No, hell no. You're not.
Hey, Arlington.
God dang it.
Arlington, look.
No. I'm not gonna hear that today. I'm not gonna hear
It's
that.
Dirty Gary. Arlington, look. Jordan Amu makes the pass down the yard and his guy dropped it. He's got the Butterfingers. He must have not had the Butterfinger police by him.
Listen. No. If that's the case, then Vince is gonna have to make a comeback too, and I'm trying to leave him
No,
alone.
look. Again, it goes back to the start of this show when I was having all the technical difficulties. You guys talking about the $60 million, them losing that money. And technically, if they didn't really lose that money, because we'll never know exactly how much they lost, right? But why would you bring somebody in? You have 4 perfectly good head coaches. I mean, I know Michael says only 3. I still think that AJ Smith from Houston would deserve a chance to even be interviewed for that job.
It goes back to that rookie head coach that he was talking about.
I get it. But is he really a rookie head coach? He's there in the league. He's been coaching that offense. He's been doing it. Now, he would be considered a rookie head coach, right? But, I mean, to me, it makes sense just to bring somebody from inside the league and put them in the Vegas spot. Because it's this. You're moving the guy down from one hotel room office to the next hotel room office. That's all you're doing. That's all you're doing. You ain't costing yourself any money. You're just moving them from one hotel office to the next hotel office. Plain and simple. That's it. That easy.
But that's the thing. If we say in League of Opportunity, that would be AJ Smith's opportunity to be that guy. But like what Michael was saying, it's about right now making sure that the league sustains.
Oh, I agree. You
gotta have somebody that's had the experience. Had the experience in the XFL as a coach. June Jones had the experience as a coach. I think, my pick is Hayes. June Jones would look really good with that Vegas group. That's just my opinion. I don't know if y'all.
Now, if you think about it, if that's the truth, from room 228 down to 118, that's the truth. I ain't worried about that. I'll call you later. I've been super busy with all this stuff going on.
But
anyway,
guys, this is what this $60 million is all about. And of course, there's going to be some changes, hopefully, in 2024 when it comes to marketing, when it comes to fan engagement. That is the major play here. This is what we want. We want to make sure that because it's all about us. Everybody that's in here that's watching this show. That just because we're host of the show, we're also fans of the league, and we want to see this league succeed more than anything. Now the good thing is, we want merchandise to look better now. We want some things to sustain. We want this league to sustain. Like, we don't want to look at, because everybody else, the detractors, haters, they're looking at it as a joke league. And I know.
But hold on. Here's the real question. Are they really? They got a year under their belt now, right? Yeah. I mean, was their jerseys all that great? No. I mean, you can go on. I don't want to give the website a plug, but you can go on another website and get your jersey from China, and it looks better than the jersey that you got there. I mean, you look at the jerseys that Mike had behind him; those were great jerseys back in 2020. So I think this time around, even though they had time, I think they still felt a little rush. I don't think they felt like they had the right people in place. And then now they found out that they didn't. So I think that's why you had so many people get let go from this last round of cuts. And I think that maybe the people, China jerseys for the win in 2023. I think what we're going to see is we're going to see some stuff a lot different coming into the 2024 season. And I think it's going to shock a lot of people when the things start coming out. I mean, so it's going to be really interesting to see how this all goes.
Real quick before I'm gonna get to Mike. I gotta get to both Derek and Mike with the huddle if they have been into it. But some breaking news came through that XFL is now partnered with Nick Novak and his kicking showcase. So that's a good thing to see out there now. Former place kicker Nick Novak. You've been seeing some of them work before him, but now they're officially partnered. So anybody that's looking to become a professional kicker, those that are going to be at the showcases, now you get an opportunity to work with Nick Novak and bettering yourself as a place kicker. So congratulations to Nick Novak and the XFL for this partnership. All right, Mike, did you get a chance to check out the huddle? And did you get a chance to do the survey or any of sorts, for the XFL championship?
I did.
So, and when you looked at it, what was the main thing that you discussed? I think we're asking, one of the questions was, what would you like to see come up in 2024? I think that was one of the questions. Was it? Am I right, Dirty, or no?
Yeah, you're right. The fan experience. Look, let's really talk about it. The main question on there was the fan experience of the championship game. If you didn't know that they were doing something over at Concourse A, you're just better off coming over to Lot B and partying with the X-Fan show and all the real fans like Mike did and like the mayor did and like we did. I mean, that's where the real party was. But I mean, listen.
All right, shut up so Mike can say it's
I know, that's what I'm stopping for. You had to get me going, didn't you pastor?
I didn't know anything was happening on that other side of the stadium. And you want to know what's really messed up about this? It's not that they just didn't share it, that information. Obviously, I came in from out of town, flew in from Florida. I walked from the opposite side of the stadium from where I walked from downtown. I didn't see anything. So what were they talking about? If I would have seen it, I probably would have went and checked it out before I came over and met up with you guys. So something, I didn't even see it. And I'm not blind. I don't wear glasses. I don't have contact lenses. I'm not trying to be rude with anybody that does. I'm just saying, like, where was it? And if it was there, how small was it? Because I didn't see a thing.
See, and that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, things got to change next season, man, because it's like, like.
All right, now Derek, you came to a few Battle Hawk games, right?
Yeah, that is correct.
You saw the Battle Hawks tailgate party, right?
I was there, yes.
But then you saw the X-Fan show and the Broadway Boat Bar tailgate party, right?
Yes.
Which one would you rather go to, Derek?
Well, let me give the fans out there that are watching and listening to the show live and in living color right now a good analogy. It's like going to somebody's birthday party that nobody shows up. It's like mind
you, talking about the league one.
Well, the league one, that's right. And whenever I showed up at the vest lot at the old Dome, I was, first of all, two things. Number one, I was aghast at the price to get in. It was $60.
See, Derek, you should have reached out to me, Derek. You should have reached out to me.
$60.
Derek, you should have reached out to me. I could have helped you out. That's what happens when you get snake bite.
The only reason that I paid the $60 was because I could smell the barbecue coming from across the lot. And I'm a big boy, if you haven't noticed. Okay, I'm 6'4", 240 pounds. I'm a big boy, and I need a lot of fuel to keep this machine moving. All right. So I smelled that food. I said, to hell with it. Here's my money. I don't care. I smell beer and I smell bratwurst. I'm going to go eat. So I get in there, and this is the second part of it, and I am blown away because I've been to NFL games. I've been to NFL tailgates. It was colder than the devil out there. It was so cold. I couldn't feel my face. I couldn't feel my ears. I mean, most of the time I can't feel that stuff anyways, but it was even worse this time. And everybody was out there having a blast. And it was a who's who of people that I ran into on social media, people that I follow, big time fans, people that I saw that were NFL people that I haven't run into in a decade or more at this particular tailgate. And there were thousands of people at this tailgate that was, basically helped and put on by, I don't know, some show, a couple of guys. I don't know. I'll think of it. But
Yeah.
they
Take your time.
that's a couple of these guys, these clowns. I don't know. They run some doofy show on Facebook or something or other like that. They get on there and they laugh at each other. And one of them was called I don't know what's this nickname? Some dumb nickname. Stupid looking guy called like Shirty or Purdy or something. I can't remember. But anyway, it was an absolutely fantastic event. It was great to be there. It was fun. It was an NFL caliber experience being at the Dome, even though it was as cold as it was. It was an amazing fun time. And every single time I went, it was an amazing fun time. This is what shocked me. When I went over to the host event that was over on Broadway, there was nobody there. They had tents set up. They had music playing. They had a handful of people that were over there working. Everybody's standing around. Nobody knew what to do. And I go walking through there thinking, okay, because I had heard that that's where they were having the, their event. And I thought, I'm going to go over there and check it out. Brother, I turned right back around. I went right back to the fun lot. I didn't hang around that's the ho-hum lot. I went over to the fun lot. And I went over there and I hung out with all the boys and the girls and everybody over there having a good time. We threw some footballs around. We told some jokes. We drank a few man sodas and we had a good time. And then we went into the game and we kicked butt and we had a great time. And every single time I went, that's what grassroots gets you. When you try to buy the fan experience, when you try to force the fan experience, it bombs on you. It's going to blow up in your face every single stinking time. But when it's grassroots and it's natural and people naturally kind of ease into it and say, let's go have fun, let's support our team and let's support our hometown, that's where you have success.
Yeah, and right.
Okay.
And like it's San Antonio, what happened down there. Now, Michael, I know that in Orlando, I know you went to a few of the games in Orlando, and that's a little different. I mean, it's 95 degrees all year round down there. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, what was the tailgate experience down there in Orlando? What did you guys do down there? Like, what was the difference between the team event or your guys' fan events, tailgates?
There were some different tailgates set up, right? Different groups of people doing their thing. And I don't mean like 5 or 6 people. There would be some groups of 30, 40, 50 people, but it wasn't anything centralized. I mean, I think this is where St. Louis has a slight benefit is that they've lost, their NFL team and they got 2020. So they came together and the Battlehawks became kind of this, revival, this reunion of the fan base of coming together and our team, forget about Kroenke and, all that crap. Orlando didn't have that. And maybe it's because I lived too far away that I wasn't able to really get involved and help trying to create that. But I'm also a news show and I'm not really Guardians driven, right? So, I mean, I look at it and there's a lot that needs to happen. My Standing Guard show, a couple episodes in him, but I think there's so much opportunity because it's there. People want it. You can tell. And the same thing with the league sponsored. My wife and I went in, we checked it out, got my, a couple of beers through the partnership they have, that I wasn't able to get the first couple games because they always sold out by a certain time, which was also another crazy thing. I just don't understand it. How don't you have enough beer to supply 10,000 people? What would you do if 30 or 40,000 showed up? Not have any? Again, there's just so many opportunities here tied into marketing, tied into whatever these people need to really get their eyes focused on and dot every I, cross every T, and put in the periods in place. Because that event, aside from getting some free Zoa at Westgate trying to get me to sign up for something, there wasn't a whole lot. What, take a picture. Somebody takes a picture and sends it to you through your email. There's got to be something better. You're spending
Right.
money on that. It's free to walk into. It's not drawing enough people. There's got to be something better. Fan experience. I know you guys preach it all the time, and I know so many people on social media talk about it all the time. It has to be better because in game, pre-game, whatever it is, it's still lacking significantly. It's not the same as 2020. And I know this is a new league, same 3 letters, but they have to revisit this fan engagement aspect and really perfect it because it's got a long ways to go.
And
Yeah.
that's why I have faith with the people that are there now in the in the management ship now of the XFL. Right? I think it is going to be different. I think we are going to see a lot more marketing. I think they are going to bring on some kind of like fan advisor type of position there within the league to be more engaged with the fan bases. And I mean, look, here's what we do know about the XFL. And Danny and the Rocket both said it from the get-go. This is about the fans first. It didn't seem like they did that in 2023, but it seems like they're doing it now in 2024 from the little things that I've already seen out there. But that's enough harping on that. Let's talk about the draft. Have we talked about the draft yet? Or
We actually did it in the beginning of the show, but we can rehash.
Oh, never mind. Then if we already did that, I can do it on Thursday. Who cares? But I do have a big announcement. Are you ready for this one, Arlington?
I'm ready, I guess.
So, the Hyena's been hard at work for us, Arlington, right? And we have a special show this Monday at 8 o'clock. Chris Claiborne will be on the B-Hawk live show with me and Daddy Ed. The Hyena might show up, but I'm going to try to see if we can keep her away as long as possible because, she'll make the show boring and not ask him very good questions, Wow. But it's going to be me and Daddy Ed. And then also next Wednesday, so that's next Monday, Chris Claiborne. Next Wednesday, the Hyena made a big score. We're going to have Dave Bowler, the player personnel director of the St. Louis Battlehawks, coming on the show to talk about the draft, how the team was built in 2023, how the team is going to be built in 2024. So next week, the X-Fan Legion is blowing up. We got a lot going on next week, and God bless America, I'm going to be tired, Arlington. I'm going to be tired. 4 days I got to broadcast. 4 days.
You chose this life. So guess what? You chose this life, and so that's.
Oh, here we go. See, people always sticking up for Amanda. Oh, Amanda makes things happen. No, she doesn't, Leo. She doesn't.
Hey, gang.
She doesn't.
You know what? It is a big week. It's a big week for the XFL. Of course, it's big for us. We never got a chance. I'm gonna do it now. Is to thank our wonderful sponsor at Wild Sun Winery and Wild Sun Winery and Brewing Company. I got it right the first time. See, there we go. Thank you, Wild Sun Winery and Brewing Company, for being a part of the X-Fan Legion. And when are you retiring your Harry Carey impersonation? Please, God, thank you so. The same time that Pat Sajak is retiring from Wheel of Fortune. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping the same time. So after September through February or whenever they do that, you retire that crap. It's over for you. No more. Yeah, you. Oh, man. You lucky. You so lucky. You are so lucky right now. First off, I want to thank our guest. Derek, before you go, say to our watchers and listeners where they can find you on social media and your wonderful sports site.
Well, let's start off with the site, www.gatewaycitysports.com. We cover a litany of different things on there, lots of different articles, lots of different stuff. We're actually adding local high school sports in the St. Louis market right now. We're starting in kind of South St. Louis, the Festus, Hillsborough area, things like that. We're going to start migrating around and doing a lot of other different high school sports because there's not really a whole lot of people that are doing that. And we've seen a lot of really good traction with that. So we're pretty excited about that. Over on Twitter, Gateway City Sports, or myself, Derek King Sports. Come and check it out. Always new stuff, always fun things going on. That's about it.
Mike?
Well, it's simple. You either go to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, @Player54 Podcast. You'll find us. And we're on every platform that's that you can think of, whether it's Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts. We're there. Just type us in. You'll find us.
Excellent deal, man. Hey, that Dirty, where are you?
But I don't know. You're like lost. You got lost, Mike. I guess Michael stole your thunder there. You got all tongue tied after Michael made his phenomenal plug. You were just like,
I did.
Are you okay there, pal? Are you okay?
Yeah, it happens. You know what? Players always mess up sometimes.
Did you get bitten by a snake?
A few of them.
Oh, did you? Oh, okay.
They hurt too, man. Like they really do hurt.
Does it hurt? You want me to suck the poison out?
No. Don't worry about that. That'll be taken care of at another time. It'll be taken care of. I promise you. I promise it'll be taken care of.
Oh,
all right.
Okay.
Up for this edition. I've got to play the music so we can get up out of here, man. So yeah.
All I know is it's hot outside and I'm sweating and I'm fat.
Hey man, I'm staying indoors today.
Well, my internet was messed up inside. I'm fat. I'm sweaty. You guys got to sit in nice air conditioner. I got sweat rolls underneath my armpits. I even got some sweat underneath my belly. You want to see it? Here's some sweat from underneath my belly. See it?
Why do I have to do this all the time? Thanks, thank you, Derek. Mike, thank you so much, Derek. Always a pleasure. You know you always welcome here. We'll deal with Dirty at another time, but thank you, watcher, listener, wherever you are. Make sure you tune in to X-Man Show every Tuesday and Thursday. YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. And we'll catch you next time. The X-Man Show. We'll see you on Thursday. So long.